Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's just Kat. I am Kat. If you've been here before, welcome back. If not, welcome. I'm coming to realize that this video just didn't come across your camera or your phone or your YouTube channel or your feed just for any reason. It's because the Lord wants you to hear something. So I hope that what I have to say is beneficial to you, to somebody that you know, to somebody that you love. Hopefully, I can help y'all out in some way, shape, or form. So, thank you for being here. I have been on a hiatus for the last, I feel like forever, but it's been about 3 to 4 weeks. I got sick. It was the holidays, got sick again. Then I went to New York, and now I'm back. So it's been a good minute since I've been here, and I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about basically like kind of a new series. I wanted to start. It's gonna be bouncing off of my birth story. A lot of you have heard about my birth story. There's 3 parts to it. If you haven't heard it, you can go back into the videos and watch them. Very interesting stuff. The Lord really did pull up on me and my kid during that time. So I really give God all the glory for that. So now I'm going to be starting, I'm looking at my book because it's just a reminder for me. I'm going to be starting a series regarding being a single mom. I want to start the series talking about my divorce because that's what essentially caused me being a single mom. And then we'll go from there. There's just a lot of in and outs that I want to capture within my storytelling and within my testimonials regarding being a single mom. I think that these will very much help other single moms, it's especially those who are struggling, and even beyond being a single mom, if you're a single father, single parent, even parents that are not single, like it's gonna cascade over all the things parenting. I have a lot to say about this just because the struggle was very much real after me and my ex got separated. And then when it went into the actual divorce, there was a lot of drama with the court hearings and just getting settled into that new space of realizing that being a single parent is going to be harder than I expected. It wasn't what I wanted, but I've very much found myself in a space of, oh crap. Anyway, so let's get into it before I start talking. Let's see. And I'm gonna try to keep my ums to a minimum. It's something that I've noticed in my videos. This is full transparency. I say a lot as a filler word, just like people say like a lot. And I'm trying really hard not to say I've noticed it. The Lord has pointed it out to me to work on specifically because of, saying it again, specifically because of gaining a skill set of, what is it called? Public speaking. And other people have noticed it as well. So full transparency, if you find me struggling, like you see me very much struggling to find words and not say that's what it is. And if you see me just pausing just to recollect my thoughts because I don't want to say that's also what it is. So, all right, single parenting, divorce. I was married in 2010, I believe. It took about a year for me to get pregnant. Yeah. The way I don't remember my own last wedding, marriage date. That speaks volumes. Anyway, and within about a year and a half, almost 2 years into our marriage, my ex decided to move out. We had a lot of issues going on. I know I talk about the issues broadly in a lot of these videos, and I promise I'll dig into the issues that were going on in our marriage, not to out my ex, but to hopefully help other people who are dealing with the same thing in their marriage. Hopefully what I went through helped somebody else. But so going back to the issues, broadly, they were issues, okay? Enough to where I was done. Emotionally, mentally, physically, all the things, done. I remember praying to the Lord, I'm done. I don't want to be in this marriage anymore, but I recognize that I made an oath, a vow to this man. So you either sever the tie between us, or you help me be okay being miserable in this marriage. True prayer. I said it. I meant it. To this day, I don't have any regrets, because that was one of many very authentic and transparent prayers that I have prayed to the Lord regarding my situation. I was just done. And sure enough, within the same week, we were going to therapy. I dragged him to therapy because maybe it was based on my own guilt and shame that I felt about him, about our marriage, but I was very much in the space of, let me do all that I can do to save this marriage so that I don't feel that I didn't try. And so I dragged him. He very much did not like it. We lasted 2 sessions. By the second session, he said some things that was just, the light bulb went on of like, I'm done, but I'm really done. Even the therapist, it was a Christian therapist, and she, when my ex said what he said, she looked at me, and it was almost like you could feel in the atmosphere like a break, like there was a tear. It was not audible, but it was audible, but it was, you could feel it. I felt it. I believe the therapist felt it, because right when it happened, the therapist looked at me like, oh, she done. And that was the same night that, I think that was the same night, or within like the next day, my ex was like, I'm moving out. He moved out to a friend's house. The friend was the woman he was cheating on me with. And I cried, not because he was moving out. I took it as a blessing that the Lord really did hear me. I didn't know how that would play a part in my prayer being answered, but I just knew that this was a start of a new journey for me. And the Lord, I think I'm going to say something very controversial, but I think it needs to be said. I made the decision to marry my ex. The Lord very much did not put us together. And scripture is very clear of when the Lord brings two people together, no man can separate. The Lord did not bring us together. So we very much separated our ties just based off of behavior, the issues that were going on. When I prayed the prayer to God to just end my marriage, to have my ex leave me because I was too scared to do it myself, and I was too ashamed to do it myself. When my ex said, I'm moving out, I took it as an answered prayer. And I very much knew that this marriage wasn't godly, that God wasn't in it. And so I was happy. I was happy that I wasn't the one to make the decision to separate. I was happy it was him. There's two folds to that. Number one, obviously, because it ended, right? The other part to it was that selfishly and pridefully, I was able to point the finger at my ex for ruining our marriage. Regardless if he was cheating or not, it was the fact that he took the step to separate, to move out. I knew that I could use that as ammo to say it was him, not me, even though half of the issues were him and half of the issues were me. I was going to say, even though most of the issues was because of him, but I don't want to go down that road. So I was happy. I took it as a sign from God that the marriage definitely was not of him, that he definitely did not approve, and that I was on the right track of not wanting to be in a relationship, in a marriage with my ex anymore. I did not consider the fact of all the drama that would happen after. So he moved out. I couldn't stay in the apartment that we were in based off of my own income. So I had to make a quick decision to move out. Obviously, my mom was there. I had support. My mom was there. But I wanted to stay in almost the same area that I was in, closer to my job. So I made the decision to call my ex's parents to see if I could move in with them. I told them what happened. Thank God they were so welcoming and loving and supportive through the whole process of me moving out. And I said that before in one of my other videos. They were a godsend. And within that time, the divorce proceedings happened. I had to go to court for the divorce and for the child support. That was drama, so much heartache. I wouldn't wish that process on anybody, to sit in front of a judge and try to convince a stranger that has power to decide you and your child's future, that you're a good mother, is one of the worst experiences in the world. to convince somebody that you were a good mother, it's just so demeaning. It's ridiculous. But that's the process of what you get when you go through child support and divorce and custody, the custody battle. It was a back and forth, and I'm trying trying not to say but I'm also thinking through the story, so please bear with me. It was definitely a back and forth of me pointing the finger at him pointing the finger at me, both of us trying to convince other people, strangers, people who had the power, right, to make the decisions, that we were in the right. Simple as that. Within that whole process, I gained bitterness and pridefulness. I gained shame. I gained guilt. I gained depression. Why do I always cry, dude? It was just one of the hardest times of my life. I'm trying not to cry right now. It was one of the hardest times of my life. So on top of all the external things that were happening, I was trying to keep my job. Thank God I had a supervisor who didn't necessarily walk in the same paths as I did, but understood well enough that I was going through a hard time. I was able to talk to her and help her to understand what my life was right now. And the focus was very much on trying to stay afloat and not drown, and trying to protect my child and trying to provide for her. So I had a supervisor that allowed me to go to the court hearings without any drama, allowed me to call off when I needed to, obviously within the regulations of my job description and the company that I was working for. So woven, and I always say this, woven into all the drama and the heartache, the Lord was working. He just gives little nubs of goodness and peace, and moves pieces around in your life and allows you to be in proximity to people and in relationship with people that help you at the weirdest times of your life. If I wasn't at that job, I don't know what I would have done. If she wasn't my supervisor, I don't know if I would have been able to even keep my job. If my ex's parents weren't so loving and weren't so present, I may have been homeless. He kept me afloat even when I felt like I was drowning. So I give all glory to God for keeping me. Actually, that's just it, just keeping me from going insane. Anyway, so the headspace of being a single parent is very much lonely. So lonely. Not everybody has support, right? And some people do. Regardless, and I feel like I need to say this to people who just don't understand what being a single parent means. You can have all the support in the world as a single parent. You can have people pulling up, helping you out without any kind of explanation. They were there at the drop of a dime. But when you're a single parent, it's still lonely. regardless, it's just this gnawing loneliness that you have. You get reminded everywhere you go that you don't have your other half, that you have a big responsibility to take care of a child or children, to nourish them, to protect them, to guide them, to instruct them. And it's all on you. You don't have the other person, the father or the mother, your wife or your husband in the household to take the brunt of a lot of harsh realities of being a parent. And some people would argue, well, if the child has the dad, right? My kid's dad is in her life. She has both of her parents in her life. But I'm still single. It doesn't take away the fact that when I come home, I'm who she goes to for all of her needs. I don't get a break. When you're in a house with two people, with two parents, with your husband or your wife, you have that option. God forbid they're supportive, right? And they're present. But you have that option to say, hey, I'm super tired right now. Can you make the kids dinner? Can you put them to bed? Can you help with laundry? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. It's a different vibe. And I know there's a lot of marriages that don't have that supportive spouse, and I'm sorry for that. That, I think, sucks because you have an extra burden to carry. Because number one, you feel like a single parent, but you're not, and that sucks. That really does suck. I know that very much too, with me being in just a lifeless marriage, of feeling like I was a single parent, even though I had a husband. Anyway, so the loneliness really does take effect. You could be at a store and you see a couple with their kids, and it's just everywhere you go, it's a reminder that of what you don't have. So divorce really does number one, breaks up the family. It disrupts the kids' emotional and mental stability. It brings confusion and frustration, anxiety and fear into their lives. But it very much brings loneliness to the parent who has to parent, who has to step up and take the brunt financially for all the child's needs, the parent who's willing, not even able, but willing to financially say, I got it, you don't have to worry about it, to the other parent, or to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was very much that parent. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. I don't. I want to say to the single mom or the single dad that is going through a divorce right now, it gets better. It really does. And I know you feel lonely. I know you feel some type of shame going to family functions or being around your friends and knowing that you're going to come home alone to whatever issues you have to come home alone to. You have to come home alone to your own thoughts. You don't have anyone to share the burden with, truly. You get to lay in a bed by yourself. You get to cry by yourself. Because honestly, the only person that really understands what you're going through is another single parent. And usually, single parents are lone wolves. We do not ride together in packs. We come across each other on the path of life, and it's like a common camaraderie understanding of, I know what you're going through, but to have that daily support that you need to be the best person, the best version of you, when that's gone, I almost feel like you're constantly behind the ball and you're constantly scraping for scraps. And it's a sucky situation to be in. Especially if you don't have the Lord. But even when you do, it's still a sucky situation. I still felt I had the Lord. Not as much as I do now. Like, I have more faith in him now than I did back then, because of the things that he has brought me through due to the divorce and due to me being in this situation of being a single mom. He has definitely been there through it all. But when you're in the storm, you're going through the storm and you're really trying to survive. You really are. I've had times where I just cried out to the Lord and just told him, I'm trying. I don't know what else to do but to do what I'm doing. I don't know what else to try but what I've already tried. My brain is fried. My emotions are old but new and keep on spinning the block on me. My thoughts are like a hamster wheel. The fear, the gnawing fear of having the other shoe drop at any moment was constant. But I had the Lord. And I keep saying that because I didn't fail. As close as I was to just giving up, as close as I was to circumstances, not having enough food in my fridge at some points, not being able to pay rent, being behind on bills, having no car, not knowing how to maintain a 9-to-5 job and still have childcare for my kid. At the moments that I felt like I had nowhere else to turn and that I had no other cards to play, I still got through it. And that's because of the Lord. He always pulled up. He always either gave me resources, had somebody call me, drop things off, give things randomly to me that they didn't even know completely changed the whole week for me in a positive way, or stretched what I had. Either way, he made it work. And that's just the external things. The internal things were giving me peace in the midst of me crying my eyes out, because I was able to go to sleep and wake up the next morning. Yeah, with the headache and felt dehydrated, but I was able to sleep. I mean, just small tokens like that. Me, like I said before, not going insane. It sounds real simple, but it was hard not to just mentally give up. Like it's one thing to give up on life, but like when you mentally give up, it's like you kind of just wave the white flag to the demons that just want you, you know, to the depression and the anxiety and the fear that just want to overconsume you. You're fighting back these demons constantly. And there was times where I was like, let them have me. Let them have me. But the Lord would say no. The Lord would say, get up. The Lord would say, keep going. The Lord would say, I'm with you. The Lord would say, I'm your strength. The Lord would say, I got you. The Lord would say, you don't lack in anything. The Lord would say, I will provide. He would say, I will protect. He never gave up on me. He never gave up on the vision he had for me, for my kid. I remember one time I was driving to a wedding and I was going through it, really going through it. And I had to talk myself into smile, be happy. You know, and I was happy for the couple that I was attending their wedding, truly happy. But it was a reminder of what I didn't have. And I remember she couldn't be more than like 3. And I'm crying as I'm driving. And she just says to me, as a matter of fact, she looks at me through the rearview mirror. She said, Mama, the Lord said everything's going to be okay. I was trying to actually hide my tears and hide me crying. And I looked at her in the rearview mirror and I knew I could see the Lord on her. The conviction that she had in her eyes, I knew that was the Lord talking to me through my child. And it gave me the courage to just get through the day, to be present in the day, and to not dwell on what I lacked, but to focus on what somebody else had gained that day. They gained love and a husband, and he gained a wife, and it was beautiful. Sometimes he only gives you what you need for that day. And he definitely, every time I woke up, every day I woke up, I just wanted to lay in bed and do nothing. I didn't want to think anymore. I didn't want to, I was tired. Loneliness and being tired of being tired of being tired. I was tired. But every single time, the Lord would say, get up. And every single day, I would get up. I would go through my day, be praying to God. Literally, sometimes it would just be like, help me. I just need help just to get through this hour. I need help to get through this day. I need help to get through tonight. And he did. It didn't look pretty. It didn't look like this mighty move of God. It looked like a simple, I was able to come home safe. I was able to go to work and pick up my kid and come home and have dinner on the table. My kid was able to go to sleep peacefully and securely. I was able to have time to cry in the shower, cry myself to sleep. But even in that, I needed it, right? That was my me time, even though it sounds miserable. It was my me time. It was my time to just breathe, to cry, to sit, to stare at the ceiling, to listen to music. Let the Lord just wash off all the negativity off of me, because I couldn't do it. I had no strength. So here I am now, and I want to leave you guys with a positive note, because being a single mom, being a single dad, being a single parent, being a parent is not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot of elements that go into it. And I just want you to know that when you call on the Lord, you will get out of the storm. Period. You will get out. I'm out. I'm still single, you know? But my mindset is completely different. My lifestyle is completely different. Where I am spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically is completely different. My relationship with my kid is completely different. My life has turned right side up, and I'm not joking when I say that. The Lord really did what he promised. He got me through the storm, and he pulled me out with even a better expectation than I thought possible. Yes, I'm still single. But I have so much to look forward to. He has given me so much to do that I want to be married. But that's not the sole purpose of my thoughts anymore. I'm not lonely anymore. I'm not tired anymore. I'm content. Am I settling? No, but I'm content. And I won't settle. God knows I'll never settle, especially regarding a man. I'm not settling. So if that means the Lord needs to continue to develop me, if that means I see goodness and his glory in each of my days without a man, so be it. So be it. Do I want to get married? Heck yeah, I do. The desire is there, but I'm not dwelling on the fact that I'm single anymore. Again, my faith has grown so immensely because of what he's done for me. It's almost like a slap in the face if I were to turn around and tell him, but, thank you, but, and me being in the same kind of mindset as I was back then, that's a slap in his face. And I refuse to do that. He's been too good to me for me to have a frown on my face, for me to be feeling lonely. I get tired, but it's not the tired that, the tired I was talking about back then was like full on depression tired. And that's a different tired. I am not depressed anymore. I'm not that kind of tired. I have ambition to do the will of the Lord. And that's the fire under my butt to keep going. Because I know that the Lord has good things for me and my child. Together for us as a unit and separately. It's just a matter of time. So I encourage you, don't give up. If you are in the midst of a divorce, don't give up. Call on the Lord. Cry out to him. Be real with him and ask him for help, because he really will help you. He really will pull you out of that storm. He really will give you everything you ever could need to make sure that you're a good parent, to make sure that your kid has everything that they need, to make sure that you're provided for and you're protected, to guide you and instruct you into righteousness. And that's the only way to live, is on the path of righteousness. He will give it to you. You just have to keep going. Just like the Lord kept telling me, get up and keep going. I'm telling you, get up and keep going. Your story hasn't ended here. It's just a chapter. Chapters end. Even long ones, they end. So I just want to encourage you. The Lord loves you. The Lord loves your children. The Lord cares about what you're going through. I promise you that. He cares. He loves you. He has not forgotten about you. You're not forgotten. He sees you. Don't forget about him, though. Don't forget about what he can do for you and who he is. Aside from what he can do, he is Almighty God. So that's it for today. I hope it encouraged you and helped you. That was a lot. I didn't say ums. I hope I didn't say ums too much. I will see you next week. Hopefully. We'll continue the series of I Am Single. Today was I Am Single after divorce. Maybe I'll talk about, I don't know what I'm going to talk about regarding singleness, single parenting. But just keep on lifing. I'll keep on lifing, and I'll share my journey like I always do here on YouTube, over yonder at Instagram and Facebook. It's just Kat. You could look me up. You can follow me. You can say hi.